Hi guys, my name is Megan and today I've got some of my favorite summer horror reading recommendations for you. Alright, so today we're talking all about some of my favorite summer themed horror, so let's go ahead and just dive right in. Alright, so first up I've got a couple of manga that I feel like are perfect for reading in the summer, and they also are very heavily horror themed. The first of which is Undead Finding Love in the Zombie Apocalypse. This one I would put a huge trigger warning on it because it does not mention it on the back of the book. Please check trigger warnings before diving into this one because it is very graphic. So with that being said, this is following a group of survivors amidst the zombie apocalypse, and they are just trying to survive day to day. They find an abandoned mall, and there they find another smaller group of survivors who are kind of trapped within the mall. One day while they're checking the perimeter, one of the people from their group gets bitten by a zombie, and then they try to go to one of the local hospitals to find supplies to help deal with that. And they are just bombarded by zombies. So again, this is one I would highly recommend checking trigger warnings on, but this is a fantastic manga if you're looking for something that's summery but also horror with a little bit of a romance. Next up I have The Summer Hikaru Died, Volume 1. This is really interesting. This is following Yoshiki, and when his friend Hikaru comes back from a trip to the woods, he notices that Hikaru isn't the same. That's not his friend. He knows that something has taken over his friend's body, and this spirit that is taken over Hikaru's body is just trying to figure out what life as a human is like, and the spirits from the mountain are slowly trickling into their small town, and things are going wrong very, very quickly. It's one I would highly recommend. It's very atmospheric. It feels very much like a summer read. It feels like you are right there with the character experiencing the horror that is realizing your friend died and something is possessing his body, and realizing that you kind of might have a little bit of a crush on that entity that's taken over your friend's body. So it's one that I highly recommend checking out. There's also an anime adaptation for this. Next up I have The Summer Suns. This is like my top recommendation for a summer horror. This is following Andrew, whose best friend Eddie has died, and Andrew has a special power where he can see ghosts, and he is being haunted by his friend Eddie's ghost, and his ghost is trying to like drag him to hell, and you can see all of these spirits festering in all these different places, and Andrew is just trying to survive grad school. He's trying to survive in a world without his best friend Eddie, who he may or may not have had a relationship with, and it's Andrew figuring out that he is gay and falling in love with a drug dealer who loves cars. Andrew loves fast cars. It's very much a Southern Gothic dark academia mixed with like Fast and the Furious, and there's so much weird stuff going on in this. It's just very much watching Andrew spiral farther and farther and farther while trying to figure out why his friend died, and it's one that I would highly recommend. And in fact, I'm hoping to get to a reread of this probably in September if you guys are interested in following along. Next up I have You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. This is one of my favorite horror books. This is a queer teen slasher book. This is following Charity, who is, I think she's 18, and she's like being the manager at a full contact haunted house that's recreating the scenes of a movie, because their haunted house is set on the abandoned campsite where that movie was filmed. As the summer progresses, things start going wrong and weird, and like people go missing, but also there's weird noises at night. There's people that have gone missing, and so she calls up her girlfriend and a couple of other friends, and they come up to help her with the final weekend for this because people just are gone. So the final night happens and things go even more wrong from the very beginning, and I love this to pieces. I read this on audio, and the audiobook is fantastic, and it's one that I would highly recommend, especially if you love slasher movies. This is one to go for. And then last but not least, for my summer horror recommendations, I have The Woods All Black. This is a historical horror novel. This is set in the a small Appalachian mountain town, and in the 1920s we are following a nurse as they are sent to this town to help with a whole bunch of, medical things, because this tiny town is very much isolated from the rest of, they can't get to a hospital easily. So this nurse is sent there, and they are queer, and this town is very much run by religion, and nobody wants anything to do with this nurse because they're an outsider and things have been off before this nurse gets there, but they go from being off to being weird and wrong, and things are happening in the woods that shouldn't be happening, and there is a little bit of a romance with another queer character that is turning into a monster at night. And it's very interesting, and it's one that I would highly recommend if you love the Old Gods of Appalachia podcast. That's very much the feeling that you get with reading this, and it's one I would highly recommend. So those are some of my summer horror reading recommendations. Do you guys have any summer horror books you'd like to recommend? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget the like button. If you haven't already but would like to, go and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to follow me on social media for more bookish stuff, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys!